I'm going to give you a hint. A lifetime hint for you. Welcome back to another episode of The Wet Pastellist. But today I'm talking about something other than pastel. I'm talking about art in general. If you're wanting to start art, today's video is about just getting started in art. So if you've wanted to begin in art and wanted to, how do I get started right? I'm going to give you 5 tips. Count them, 5 tips of the best way and the best practices to get started. I've been doing art for decades. I started when I was 4 or 5 years old. My mother was studying art in college, and it's before they had childcare, living in the country. To keep track of me, she gave me whatever she was working on, and I learned to, when she did clay, I learned to do clay. When she did drawings, I did drawings. I didn't get to do oil paints, but she gave me other paints, tempera paints. So if you wanted to start art, and through the years I've made mistakes, I don't want you to make the same mistakes that I've made. So I'm giving you those 5 tips. Number 1, every now and then I start a beginner class, and I get a lot of the same questions. What's the best way to begin art? The beginner classes pretty much know that they're doing pastel because they've replied to some sort of email or advertisement. But if you're just getting started in art, you may not know what your medium is. And funny thing is, I painted for decades in oils and acrylics, and then I discovered pastels late in life. Just because you decide on a medium doesn't mean that that's what you're going to go from beginning of life to the end of life. So throughout the discovery process, you will basically have to decide, what medium am I going to do? Looking back, I have to say I probably wasted a lot of time trying to do everything all at once. Now, if you're headed to art school or something like that, they want you to try a lot of different mediums. But if you're just getting started, you're not going to art school, you just want to do some art for fun, for relaxation, stress relief, I suggest you start with something you think you would like to do. If it's oils, let it be oils. If it's acrylic, let it be acrylic. If it's just picking up a pencil and learning to draw and shade, let it be drawing. And if you feel like expanding, there's different tools in the drawing. For example, you could do charcoal. You could do colored pencils. You could do crayon drawings even. You could even do ink drawings. When it's start of school time, load up on those multiple colored gels that they give kids for just a few bucks. And you could have all sorts of fun. They mix just like any other color. So number 1, figure out what medium you want to do and keep it simple. Start out small. Not everybody can have a studio. Not everybody can have a big space that they can grow into. I started out with just crayons when I was a kid, and then pencils. And then when I was in college, I started painting. I started painting in acrylics and oils. So figure out what it is. So number 1, what's your medium? What do you want to start with? Number 2, is I recommend you find a dedicated space to keep your art supplies. If it's in a box under your bed, on a bookshelf, in the beginning, you're going to need just a little box or a tub to keep stuff in. You don't want to have to go to this drawer, that drawer to find what you want. If you're an adult and you're in your own home and you're single, it's probably real easy just to dedicate a corner of one of the rooms you've got. If you've got a willing spouse to help give you and make you a dedicated space, it's always better to have a dedicated space where you don't have to drag things out. You'd be surprised how many times people go, oh, I want to paint today, but I got to get the paints out. I got to get the turpentine out. I got, whatever. I got to go sharpen all my pencils and get them together because some of them are over here and some of them are over there. By keeping it all in one space, whether it's that tub or whether it's a dedicated corner, you're going to enjoy your art, because when you feel like stress relief or feel like doing some art, there's nothing better than just to go there and pick up the supplies, the pencils or the watercolors, and fill a little tub with some water and get started. If you got to drag it all out and clean it all up afterwards because you don't have a dedicated space, then it becomes less pleasant. Find a space. Next, find some sort of method or methods, plural, to educate yourself. It's fun to just doodle with a pencil, and you'll learn a lot just by doodling with no instruction. But at some point, you're going to say, can I make this better? This is fun. How do I make this better? And at that point, whether it's books or video instruction, you're here today because you wanted to learn more about art. So maybe YouTube. There's multiple instructors, and don't just stick with one. I'm subscribed to many YouTube artists because I learned something even after doing art for decades. I learned stuff from people, and it's like, oh, that's a whole lot easier way than what I've been doing. Explore those channels. If you've got a library card, go to your local library. There's a ton of art instruction books there. There's a lot of picture books too. Number four out of my tips. Don't let not having something to paint, not having an idea stop you. The best way to develop an idea, especially when you're just getting started, is to start doodling. And the second best way to get started is to copy something. Even if it's a painting and you're going to copy the outlines with a drawing, or you're going to put a coffee cup out, any everyday object, when you're just starting, you don't have to be in love with the subject matter. Matter of fact, it's actually easier if you're not in love with something, because as soon as you're in love with something, you've got this vision in your mind, and it's like, this is what I want this to look like, and you're just getting started. You probably don't have all the skills to make it look like what you want it to look like in your head. You've seen art, and it's like, well, why can't I make this house straight? Why is it crooked? Why is this barn? Why do my trees look like a child's balloon up in the air? These things have to come with some practice and time. So it's better that you not be in love with the subject that you're trying to paint, but instead pick out everyday objects or copy somebody else's and try to get the colors or try to get the lines or try to get the things correct. And then back to number 3, your education. When you start selecting what you want to watch and what you want to see, that education, today I'm going to learn how perspective works. Today I'm going to learn about color. Today I'm going to learn about. So use that item number 3 to help you with number 4. And number 5 is just do the work. Get started. Don't worry about what it's going to look like. I tell my students in workshops is that we have to go through ugly before we get beautiful. And by that I mean, do we wake up with our hair all combed? Well, those of us that have hair, it doesn't really matter what it looks like. You're doing the art because you have an interest in learning how to do something. And it's that learning process. We learn from our failures. So do the work. Get started. You said you wanted to be an artist. You said you wanted to learn something about art. That's why you came to this video. So whatever medium you picked, whether it's pencil, charcoal, watercolor, oil, pastel, pick up the pastels and start making marks. I started these videos a year ago, and I've really been having fun teaching people art and not charging them the fees. So these little tutorials, hopefully you got something out of this one today, and that you'll do number 1, pick your medium. Hopefully this gave you 5 ideas and you won't make the mistakes that I made. Thank you. If you're one of those that have stuck with me this past year or started sometime, I want to thank you for your patience, letting me get some people started in art. And I'm glad you stuck with me. And next week we'll have a video that will apply to those people already doing art. But for those who just joined, hopefully you'll work your way through those 1 through 5 items and enjoy a lifetime of art. Even if you never come back here, but I hope you do. And if you hit the like button, everybody, that'll let others find this real easy. So until next time, take care, everybody.